April 7th, 2020. And let's see, I'm going to pick it up. We're still in Houston, but we know we're seriously looking at getting out of town, doing something different. We apparently want to do something really different. Uh, Neil and Myrna very interested in getting on to some land where they can maybe have some animals, learn how to garden. They used to garden quite a bit out in California and not so much in Houston. And yeah, me and Sue kind of the same, just wanting to get away from this crazy town. So I'm still working at the Spring Branch. I'll work right up until the time we leave, and same with Sue. She's doing what she can, still with the little home health care thing that she was doing, nurse's aide. And so at some point, I think Neil sent out some inquiries up to areas in Arkansas, to some of the different chambers of commerce in various small towns. We're gonna go small town. We're not gonna go Little Rock or something like that. And we only got a couple of chambers that I even bothered to send any information back. It's kind of weird. Uh, so one was Jasper, Arkansas, and one was Mena, Arkansas. And so we did a trip up that way. If I remember right, we may have all just kind of went in one of the buses up there. I can't remember for sure. So just the four of us. We're just going up for a quick day trip. I don't remember spending a night overnight or anything like that up there or camping out. Or we just went up to look at some stuff. And we looked at Jasper, and at that time we saw it as obviously a very tourist oriented town, canoeing and all kinds of different things going on. And uh, nice, sweet little town, but we thought we're also going to check out Mena on our way back, and then we'll decide. So we checked out Mena, small town, not as much recreation oriented, at least at that time. And uh, the property was, as far as property acreage that you could buy, was much less than up in Jasper. And we saw that we could probably afford something. And I can't remember whether, I mean, we did meet with a realtor and looked at a couple of pieces of land, and there was this one piece out in Heath Valley. We just all kind of said, man, this is pretty nice. It's like, I don't know, 28 acres or something like that in totality. And we're going to kind of just divide it up. They'd have their half, and Sue and I would have our half. And so we met with a realtor. He, gave us a tour. Thing had a creek right on Max Creek. It's one of the major creeks out in Heath Valley. And so the section of property that would be halved off for Sue and I would be along the creek. I thought that's cool. I like creeks. And Neil and Myrna would be up on the mountain. It's just like a couple hundred feet above, where we are. And they have to put in a nice steep driveway and build a house up there on top. Be great. So this was the plans. But first we'd have to settle things in Houston, and I don't know what the deal was with Neil as far as their home, whether they were renting or I don't think they lost the home. They were probably just renting, but uh, basically we knew our home was lost. We couldn't, no way we would sell it and get any money out of it. The market had crashed there so badly. So Sue's still working right up to the time we leave. I'm still working, but during that little weird period where we're thinking about moving to Arkansas, we'd, gosh, been married what, 9 years, something like that, and I sat down with her and said, I think I'm getting close to maybe being interested in, starting a family. And we talked about it. And so here we are there living out of our vehicles, and yeah, we decide we're going to make a baby. So she got pregnant while she was living this nomadic living in car lifestyle in Houston. Probably not the smartest thing we've ever done, but it all kind of works out because here we are still. And so, I remember I had my Volkswagen bus. Susie had her little, I think it was a Plymouth Champ that she drove. She also was doing this secondary job. She would deliver glasses to these different um, optometry places. She I don't know what it was all about, but people are getting their glasses so they can see better, and she'd make these deliveries and whatever that was, and with their cats in the car, in the car. And so we had that the bus, the Champ, and I had this uh, old, like maybe a '67 Chevy truck, big old ugly beast of a thing. And so apparently we had to make a few different trips. I can't remember how in the world I got the Quicksilver Ultralight up there, maybe in the back of the pickup truck with one of the trips. Um, the But eventually, how we get all the vehicles up there. I can remember a picture fair that we have that at some point, and this is pretty early in the days when we start, okay, we're on the property and we're going to make this work. Uh, and there's this picture of both of our Volkswagen buses sitting side by side with the engines pulled, you know, constantly working on those things. And so we get there, and at first, I think Neil and Myrna are maybe on our lower section of the property, and maybe they're in a trailer or something living. And Sue and I, at first, I mean, we're sleeping in a little pup tent. I mean, it's just like camping. We're having a good time. And Susie's belly's getting big, and she started getting worried. She's going, "Are we going to have a home to have this baby in?" And then one of the nights where I guess we're probably sleeping in this maybe in the van in the Volkswagen, and she's kind of breaking down, getting a little emotional. She said, "Well, I guess I could just have my baby here in this Volkswagen bus. I could just put I don't know if you've ever seen the old Volkswagen vans. Inside they had these little straps that you could hang on to for whatever reason. There's these little loop straps on each side, and of course we'd made a bed. And she said, "Well, I'll just put one leg in that strap and one leg in that strap and let that sucker come on out." She's, settle down, settle down. Says, I'll build us a house real quick. I'm gonna build us a house. And I'm going, oh my gosh. Well, best I could do. I heard about a this closing sale. Ace Hardware was shutting down in town. And it's just, I don't know. We're like eight or 9 miles out of town. So I go in, and what the way they were doing it is every week they would drop the prices on everything by a certain percentage. And I've got my eye on this stack of plywood there. And finally, it got down to, the stack was going to be disappearing pretty soon. And I went ahead and I bought I don't know, something like 12 sheets of plywood, that was there. Got the rest of it, brought it home, and there was this old shed that was on the property that was, the only thing of any value in it was there was a bunch of, some 2x4s and some 4x4 posts and stuff. So I scavenged all of that, and with the 12 sheets of plywood, I built this little shed lean-to type thing. It had, you know, a floor plan probably about 8 by 12, and um, the ceiling started at about 6 foot high at the highest where you would come in the door so that you wouldn't immediately bump your head, but it sloped down after that to about um, maybe 5 feet down at the other end. You know, so water would shed off of the top. I put some roll roofing on there, and had it set up to where uh, the walls would pop out. A couple feet of wall would hinge out so that we could get fresh air through. And I had some screen up from the old shed building there, and had it up on blocks. Yeah, so for just a probably a couple $100, I had us a home. And we had a we had a bed in there that basically we'd taken what chest of drawers that we'd brought up with us and had those setting under the bed setting on, you know, frame that I built setting on top of that. So we had some storage and stuff and space to walk around in there, but you're having to bend over because it'd be bumping head on the roof because of the low ceiling at one end. And yeah, that's where we ended up having a baby. And I'll just make a quick story on that as far as at one point up in Houston, when I think what led me towards, I was so hesitant for a long time to have babies and children, mainly because of my work that I did in the hospitals. I worked for quite a while with the neonatal intensive care unit. And the unfortunate part of that, yeah, it was great to, be helping mothers and child and these premature babies and all, but you start getting this real distorted image of, what the childbirth process is and how uh, what happens when babies are born. You just see, I was getting this overdose of what the reality is. And so that was keeping me really from not wanting to go through that. But while I was in Houston, I somewhere came upon a book. Wasn't a much of a reader, and I don't know how I came upon the book, but I thought, well, this sounds interesting. It was talking about people that decide to have their babies born at home, a home birth. And I read through it, and it showed the horrible statistics that I surely was aware of that could happen in some of the uh, hospitals related to how they manage childbirth. And quite often, all the things that they do that monitors and intervenes and give them this drug to hurry this up, and all leads to sometimes poor results. So I was reading the book. I was showing Sue, and we were kind of leaning towards, yeah, I think this is something we ought to look into when we get up to our new paradise in Mena, Arkansas. And I can't remember how far along she was. I'd told the story of. I think she was like really quite pregnant when we were doing the building demolition and collecting and salvaging bricks to sell. Um, but we met up. Okay, someone, I was asking around, so someone said, well, there's this one particular doctor that he does home births. So I met with him, and he said, yeah, he probably would be able to be interested in helping out with that. But as the time went on, I don't know, it's weird. He kind of got cold feet. He says, I think you're going to have to look at other resources. And I think he was just trying to get out of that business. And so he pointed us to a couple of different people that help out. That they're just like these other homesteaders, and they've been home birthing, and they help people do home birthing and all that kind of stuff. So we got a hold of a couple of gals that was going to be able to come out and help on that. But by and large, I had set in my mind that I will be fully prepared and have everything I need to properly manage the birth of this child to come. And but when the time came, she goes into labor, and boy, my little plywood box of a home, this is where it's going to happen. And we had arranged it differently so that we, apparently got okay. I think yeah. Okay, so yeah, can't remember exactly, but I do remember we must have arranged that thing differently because when the time came, uh, we had a bed that was, low down on the floor. We might have just got a mattress down there, because otherwise it was going to be difficult, with her up on this high bed to try to work that properly. And so we had Neil and Myrna that was going to be there in attendance, and the two gals that was going to help. So and me, so that I don't know, you add it up, Sue, two, in my 6 or 7 people, not counting the baby yet, in this little plywood box of a birthing room. And I think Myrna's going to do the pictures, and she took a lot of pictures. And Susie looked at them once. She says, "Nobody's ever going to get to see those." And uh, it was a long, long process. She was in labor for 24 hours, and it had started like I can't remember what time of the day, but you know, she would have contractions. She'd walk. We'd walk around the property and stuff and walk, and then they'd just quiet down. Then same thing on through the day like that. And it was like I know it was in the sometime in the evening, dark time that the baby was born. Uh, and basically, it was me, you know, right in there with the pitcher's mitt. I said, okay, it's time. You're at 10 centimeters. I'd read everything I could. I could go in and check the cervix and say, yeah, we're about 4 centimeters, 6 centimeters. Okay, we're at 10 centimeters. It's time. You're going to have to push now. And yeah, she, she runted that baby out, and I say, we got us a boy. And so we clamped the tube. Um, we had all the supplies, proper things that was needed. And the gals are helping to clean the baby up. Before the baby was born, uh, I was it's terrible. Sue's going through these birthing pains. That's horrible, I'm sure. Not enjoyable. And I'm going to go outside for a little because she's groaning and screaming and shit like pregnant women will do when they're birthing. And I said, I got a headache. I got to go outside for a little bit. So I went outside, and I'm just trying to, get myself settled, keep my mind on the task, and realize that Susie's having a time. We're going to make it through this. And I've got my flashlight, and I can hear the creek running, and I'm just listening to the calm, and I'm kind of just shining my flashlight around, and I shine it up in this tree, and there was this owl, this huge owl, just sitting there looking at me, and I just transfixed on that owl for a little while, and pretty soon I just calmed down, went in there. I had the spirit of the owl in me, and we delivered that baby. And can't remember how long it took. I think it took us a while. We kicked names around for quite a few days. So he was without name for quite a while, and then somewhere Justin popped into my head, and that was Justin. What was really amazing, and people just you know they can't believe. So the very next day, the baby was born in the night, and then the very next day we got dirty linens, blood stains and all kinds of stuff. So me and Sue, we head on into town with our not even a day old baby, and we're doing laundry. And uh, the baby still has this pointed head, and he's got a little bit of we tried to clean him up the best we could, but you could tell that wow, this looks like a very newborn baby. So we're in the laundromat doing clothes and cleaning up sheets and stuff, and oh, whoa, how old is that baby? I said, oh, about 12 hours, whatever. And yeah, we were different. Um, and later I got caught all kinds of flack from nursing personnel later when I got a job at the local hospital there when they heard that I'd delivered my own baby there. And um, yeah, it's just different in the hospital. They get used to the fact that you got to have all this technology, all this drugs and stuff. And the book that I read, he could be wrong in some places, but apparently you can do this. You know, don't do the drugs. Don't have the doctors coming in and putting plungers on the head to try to pop the baby out faster and all that kind of stuff. So, uh, yeah, that. Um, so I think I'll call that quits. Uh, we've got a baby, and we're living in a plywood box, and we're going to the bathroom in an outhouse. So, and let me cover that real quick. So the outhouse. Uh, so we're all down on this property. Susie's still pregnant, very pregnant. Neil had this idea that we'll dig about a 3 foot hole. Then he's going to set this 50-gallon drum in that hole, then build a little outhouse on top of that, and then we'll be dropping it into that 50-gallon drum. And not wasn't a good idea apparently, because I mean it stunk, which is not surprising. But Susie went in there one night. She got her flashlight. She shines it down in there, and she says there's just maggots everywhere. And she says, I will not do that in that toilet. There's maggots everywhere. And I said, okay, I got to do something different. Now, okay, this could get a little bit longer. Got to do this real quick because this is another part of that story. We're living in the little plywood box uh, outhouse. Uh, we bathe in the creek, this kind of stuff. But I had started. Neil had started on his house, and I had started the process on our eventual home. Slab was down. Neil was huge help in his expertise in because he had done building construction before, and it was going to be this little small salt box, 2-story bedroom upstairs with a bathroom. Downstairs be just a living room and a kitchen. And we had, I think, just stud walls up so far. And had the plumbing in where the wherever the toilet would eventually be would be going out to a septic tank that would apparently was already there, I think. We just had to hook up to it. And the only place there was going to be a bathroom when the house finished would be the upstairs bedroom. And then eventually plans with, doing an expansion as the family grows kind of deal. But right now it's just stud walls. You see clean through the house from outside. See the woods on the other side. And so Susie was complaining about the maggot house. It's a girl thing, I guess, especially pregnant girl thing. And so I said, okay, let me, I put my thinking cap on and I go, okay, bathroom's going to be upstairs, but we had, of course, planned ahead that we have the standard 6-inch sewer pipe in the wall downstairs. It's going to eventually go all the way upstairs to where the bathroom would be. And I got thinking I could just find a toilet and set it on that, but I need to get it out away from the wall. So I bought a little extra plumbing stuff and I put an elbow, then an extension, and then another elbow. And then I had some leftover wood and stuff. I built a platform that would match up with where the flange is going to be for the toilet to sit on. And so it was like this little 4x4 platform. But by the time I came up out of the wall, elbow turn, another elbow turn, it was like, okay, so I've got this platform, but there's no way my very pregnant wife is going to be able to step up 2 feet or whatever it was, might have even been 3 feet, to this platform. And so I built a couple steps going up to the platform. And she looked at it and she says, that's dangerous. I'm not going to try to walk up there. Look, I'm very pregnant. I said, okay, I'll put up some safety rails. I'll put some rails that you'll be able to hold on to while you walk up, and safety rails so you don't walk off the edge. So I did that, got it all surrounded. I got looking at it, and I go, yeah, let's paint it. I had a big old bucket of 5-gallon bucket of white paint that I'd had for the White House. That's what we ended up calling the box, the plywood box. We called it the White House because I had this white paint. I painted everything white. So I painted this platform. And I stood back and looked at it, and I go, the Great White Throne. And she came and looked at it. She says, still not gonna sit on that. And she says, she says, people can look in. I said, there's no people. You just sit there and you look out and enjoy the scenery. And she says, so I put up some barriers or something so that there'd be some privacy. And finally got it to where, we even had, we had a well pumping water, even had it hooked up. It would actually a full flushing toilet, beautiful white throne. And so eventually, yeah, she took advantage of that, and that, yeah, I'm glad I slipped that in because that was a fun little bit of the story. And after that, I guess we'll get into. I guess we're going to have to get gainfully employed. All right. Well, that'll wrap it up for today. Have a good one.